Hey guys, Jonathan here, and I'm in the brand new studio and it's looking epic. I'm really pleased with it. It's much wider and I've got the woodworking shop right next to me. Now, you can see we've got a couple of panels. I made these a while back, the DeWatt hand tools panel and the Ryobi panel. They're both mounted on French cleats so I can switch them out, but there's a massive gap in the middle, which is crying out for a shadow foam logo to start with. But then below that, we're gonna be putting our YouTube 100K play button, which is amazing. I can't believe we've got this, to be honest. And we've been saying all along we want to put it in foam, but it can't go in foam on its own. It needs something else. So I made this panel, bang. It's a perfect width, just slot horizontally in between those two. I saved a bit of time. I've already made the panel, so I won't show you how I did that. It's all pretty much the same. And if you want to see me making some panels like this, go and click this link here and you can go and watch our playlist of all the panels I've built. Now, when it comes to the foam, if you didn't know already, you place the item, cut around it, peel back the foam, and you end up with a perfectly sized slot for whatever it is. So in this instance, that is where the play button's gonna live. And it's already starting to take shape. That is looking beastie. There's a whole ruck of space around this play button, and what we're gonna be doing with that is putting all of my favorite quirky tools, unusual tools from around the world. I've picked up some absolute belters, but I actually already had a load of cool tools that you've never seen. So we're going to be cutting them all into this panel, getting it mounted on that wall, and that is going to be a homage to our 100K journey. So let's get the tools out.
My tools!
Will somebody get him a tool?
So starting strong with Hulterforce, they make a bunch of tools, but this one I picked up at the Bolton Tool Fair, and we got some Zoll stocks too from Hulterforce, and a few other little bits too. They make some really good quality stuff, and the speed square is the perfect size to go in like a pouch, so I like that. That's going in the wall, as is this. This is by Nobex. Now Hulterforce have a version of this too, and it's an adjustable speed square, and I got this in our very first German quirky tools video, which is linked here. Now this is basically like a speed square, and you can kind of use it as that. It's got a load of different preset angles, so it's actually a really handy tool, and it collapses down a lot smaller than a speed square too. So lovely little thing, Swedish made. It's going in the wall. Now you can't talk Swedish tools without talking about Baco, and this is one of my favorite Baco tools. This is a reversible 10-inch adjustable. I've had this one for a long time, and this kind of jaw here winds all the way out and goes on backwards. And it's just a really good quality, solid item. So basically when you reverse the jaw, it works like a Stilson wrench. And something that can attest to the quality for a lot of people, if you didn't know how good Baco was, Snap-on bought them and owned them, and Snap-on used the same design now for their adjustables, which cost like 3-4 times as much as a Baco version. You can see there, the exact same profile, just with a Snap-on logo and a red handle instead. I got this one for another little quirky set. I like it in chrome, to be fair, but they don't do that one in reversible. So the Baco is going in the wall, and that's Sweden. Let's look at Finland. So next up is two tools from Magnum. Now we discovered Magnum at Europe's biggest hardware show. Even that alone must sound intriguing to you, so go and check it out. All the links to these videos are above. Now Europe's biggest hardware show was mental. It was 11 halls, loads of cool stuff there, and there's a few of those cool innovations in this wall. Starting with Magnum. Now these are called the Easy Grip pliers. Now we're all familiar with Cobra grips and alligator grips and the different sorts of pipe pump grips you can get, but this set here automatically adjust, and they're not a bad price, and they're available now. You can go and buy them. We'll put a link below. We've got these available in a couple of different sizes, and I think they're just a fantastic little innovation that just makes life easier. If you're in a cupboard trying to work on some pipes, not having to fiddle about with the size and get it right is a real time saver. You can just literally grip it. So they're spot on, they're going there. And another little beauty from Magnum is their compact tape. Believe it or not, this is a 5-meter tape and it's flipping tiny. And there's no compromise in the width or the quality of it. It's just wound really tight. So that is going in the wall, and that's Finland. Let's look at something from France. So I don't know any of the French brands. Let me know if I've missed any, but Facom is definitely French. They've been around for a long time. I've got a few different Facom tools. I don't have many innovations from them. I've got some spanners, I've got some screwdrivers, but this is pretty quirky. I picked this up from another little haunt of mine, which is White Shores DIY in Northwich. They had this on the shelf for £5. It said Facom on it, so I had to have it, even though I didn't know what it was. Now, can you tell me what you think this is? I'm not gonna tell you. It's quirky, it's Facom, it's innovative, and if you ask me nicely in the comments, I'll let you know what it is, or maybe you'll guess. And that is going on the wall. And while we're in Europe, let's look at Norway. So this is another beauty from the Europe's biggest hardware tool show. This was from a booth called Hammerstroke, and they had loads of quirky little tools. But this little margin marker is a handy little jig for putting architrave on doors, and it's just a lovely little tradesman invented product that I like. I feel like it solves a problem, it makes things simpler, and the maker of this reached out to us on YouTube, and he liked the videos, and for that reason alone, you're getting included on the wall. And next up is Germany, and I think that'll start filling out the walls because I've done a few videos in Germany, and there's some absolutely belting tools from there. So let me bring the German tools over. So the panel's starting to fill up now because we've got quite a few tools from Germany. This is called the electrician's level, and essentially it's for marking sockets, and sometimes you'll buy a picture and it'll have two little light eyes on the back and you need to kind of put two screws and they have to be perfectly level. Well, you can use this to make sure you get the space properly and then mark up the wall. So I think it's a fantastic little handy tool. Wasn't too expensive. That was from the London Tool Fair. Another cracking video, links all above. Sticking with Weir, this is an item I've never showed before on the channel. This is Weir's Power Lock snips. Now, they function like a normal set of snips, nothing too special about them, until you notice this power button and you're thinking, wow, what does that do? Well, essentially, without the power button pressed, they're a normal set of snips, although good quality, German-made snips. When you press the power button, it kind of changes where the articulation point is and it gives you a lot more torque. So these things can cut through chains. So it's a great little tool, and it's going to be an addition to one of our compact toolkits because I think you can do a lot with this, and it's one of my personal favourites. So that's going in the wall. Back over here, we've got the BMI Pico. Now, have you ever seen a tape measure with the tape on the outside? As soon as I saw that at the Europe's biggest show, I had to have one. And not only does it kind of, the tape come out, it clips in the back here and you can use it as like a 1 meter length level, which is pretty cool in itself. So that had to go in the wall. Moving along, we've got Zoll stocks. Now, if you've watched any of our videos, you will have seen these folding rulers. They're from Germany. They're used a lot in Germany. This is an aluminium version. You don't see these very often. This was a quirky little pickup from Bauhaus, one of the biggest hardware stores over in Germany. And because of my love for the folding ruler, we got our shadow foam version. This is a very new piece of merch we've only just added. You can get one. We'll put links down in the description. And obviously, we've got to have one in this wall, along with the classic scalpel. We've got over 500 videos of foam cutting on this channel, and every single one has been done by hand, by me, with a scalpel. Now, I can't say it was the same scalpel every time. It's like Trigger's broom. We've had 10 new heads and 20 new handles on this thing, but it represents what the foam is all about. It's about being able to do this, custom layouts, tool organization by hand. No machines required, and anybody can do it, which is the best thing about it. So I've ground the sharp edge off the scalpel just in case anyone takes it out of the wall, and we're going to put that front and center just below the play button right there. Next up, we've got Silly Willy. This is from Obi. Had to include this purely because of the name, really, but this is for smoothing out grout lines. I love going to different countries and seeing their quirky little tools, and sometimes it's just the quirky brand names that stand out, and Silly Willy was definitely a standout. Moving across, we've got this weapon. This is the adjustable 1/2-inch ratchet driver. This was from Germany. It's not German made, but it's a nifty little thing. And for a compact toolkit, I thought that was a beauty. And it's the first time I'd seen it in Germany, although I've seen a lot of others since, and I've read a lot of comments about how they're quite popular. But it's going in the wall because it's from our first German tools video. Next up, we've got the Imbus Flow Drive. This thing isn't ratcheted. This is a ratcheting screwdriver that doesn't have the typical click ratchet. It's called Flow Drive. It's nice and smooth. It can go either way, and it's just a lovely little thing, really. And the bit mechanism isn't bad either. So that had to go in the wall. Then we've got another personal favourite, which is the Scraper multi-tool. Now, we give a load of these away, and this was a hot favourite. Everybody loved this. Have you ever seen a multi-tool scraper in your country? Because I hadn't, and these came from Hornbach, a German company. They had them in clearance, and I pretty much bought them all, and that has got to go in the wall as well. Last in the German tools category is something from Knipex. Now, there's a lot of different Knipex tools that I really like, and there was a few that I could have included in this wall, but this is something I've had a long time, and it's basically a utility key with 8 different key sizes, magnets together, and it's just a really handy little tool. I've had it for a long time, since when I was fixing machines. So that's the last of the German items, and it's pretty much Europe wrapped up, except for Spain. Let me show you something from there. So a little item from Spain is this Medid tape measure. Now, the reason why I liked it is it's got vertical writing on the tape measure. I've never seen that before, and it's one of those things you don't realise you need it until you've got one. And then I think that is actually really, really handy. When you're trying to measure the height of something, you can see the numbers a lot easier. And on the front, you've got this really cool contrast. It's black with white lettering, and then just a really nice thing, really nice and solid as well. And you don't see many brands from Spain. But let me know in the comments below if there's any brands that I might have missed out, because there's still a lot of countries I've got to go and visit. So there's an opportunity to expand on this panel in the future. And saying that, we've got tools from another European country, actually, from Italy. Let me go and get it. So this is an item from Beta Tools. Now, Beta Tools, I've got a whole ruck of different hand tools, all really great quality. I've had a few different items from them over the years. Most things are quite standard: screwdrivers, spanners, all sorts of sockets and socket sets. But this little beauty I've had in my toolbox for probably going on for like 15 years. And I'll show you what it is. You may have seen a magnet version of this, where you've got like a telescopic magnet and you get a little fix in. But I was working in food factories where everything was stainless steel. So there's no point having a magnet on a stick. Doesn't matter how good you think it is or how strong the magnet is. You're not going to pick up a stainless steel bolt with it. But you can grab it with this thing. You literally go down where you need, just have a shine of bright torch, and and you can pick up the little bolt that's gone awry, fallen down into the bottom of the machine or the engine. If I put that on my finger there, it would cut into me if I let it go. It's a really strong, powerful spring mechanism on this. So that little beauty from Italy is going in the wall. And that takes us slightly out of Europe now into Israel. Let me show you a little something I've had for a long time from there. So this quirky little Dabura I got from RS Components a long time ago. The brand is Mango by Shaviv. I've Googled it, they're definitely made in Israel. I didn't know that until I Googled it, to be fair. But it's a nice little thing. It's got a full set of deburring tools in the handle. And it's just served me well. I don't need a Dabura very often, but when I do, it's nice to know it's all in that little shape. And that's why it's going in the wall. Next up, something cool from Australia. So from Australia, I've got this thing, it's called the Steelman, and I think it was from Total Tools. Can't recall, it's not made in Australia, but I've never seen it or anything like it anywhere else. Let me show you why it's pretty cool. Pretty satisfying thing. It wasn't very expensive. It came in 2 different sizes. And like I say, I've never seen anything like it. They call it the Speed Jaw. And I think Australia is a country we're going to have to visit and do a proper video because they had loads of cool stuff. But at the time I was with my family and I wasn't on this tool mission to find all the quirky things. So I only brought this back. But it's good enough to go in the wall. Now that's Australia. Let's have a look at a few items from Japan. You can't talk Japanese tools without mentioning Mitutoyo. I think these are the leaders in digital verniers and digital measurement equipment. And this is something I've had for a long time. Got it from RS back in the days when I was fixing machinery. I don't use it as much now, but it's Japanese. I like it. It served me well and it's going in the wall. As is this little thing here. This is by a brand called Engineer. They've got loads of cool tools, Engineer. This thing though I've had a long time and it's a micro solder sucker. But it's just, if you've ever used a normal solder sucker, they're quite cheap, quite big and clunky. And this thing is like machined. It's a really good quality one. I don't even know if they're on sale anymore, but it's Japanese. It says made in Japan on it. It's a little beauty, and I wanted one that was black and red and a bit smaller. And this one served the purpose at the time, regardless of where it was from. I don't use it as often now, and it's going in the wall. Bang. So that's Japan. Let me show you something from Taiwan. So this is called the Impact. Now I've seen online, there's a few versions of this to be fair. You can get them, actually the main place I've seen them is in Germany. And essentially it's a single posi drive screwdriver with an impact mechanism built into it. So this little tool I picked up at the Bolton Tool Fair and it came in a bit of a kit with some really cool drill bits. Now this stood out because I'd never seen anything like it before. Now what I have seen is a typical impact kind of removal tool. So you use it typically, you put a socket on it and you can whack it with a hammer and it basically like twists the item. Well this is that same mechanism built into a single screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver. Now I looked it up, they're not very expensive. It's a pretty clever little thing and from a quick look online you can get these in full-on screwdriver sets. But not in this country. The only place I could see them was, again, Germany. And as we've seen already, Germany have most stuff. But this one is from Taiwan, and it was from the UK Tool Fair, and it's going in the wall. So that's Taiwan. Let me show you something cool from the UK. So, classic UK, or Britain, is Brittle. Now, Brittle were bought out by Stanley Black & Decker and rebranded Expert. What a backward step that was, because Brittle is famous and it's been around for a long time. Now, this Brittle pry bar, I've got a full set of these, and they are the classic Brittle brand, representing Britain. We've also got the Marksman. Now, this was a Dragon's Den product, still made in the UK. Picked this up in Germany, to be fair, but you can get them everywhere, including B&Q now. That's going in the wall. And then CK. Now, CK represent Wales, because this company is based in Pwllheli, out in North Wales, which is a place I love. And this is one of their new products, the cable shears. We picked them up at the London Tool Fair. They are great, but I've got a couple of pairs of cable shears, and I thought this one would be quite handy to have in this wall, and it's representing Wales, which is always good. So that's the UK. Let me show you something from Canada. So representing Canada is a famous Canadian, James the Hacksmith. Now, if you don't know who he is, the link to his channel there. He builds all sorts of crazy stuff, including the very first real working lightsaber. But following that, he developed a mini lightsaber. We've got one here. I did a full video on 3 different versions of this. It's a bit of a beastie thing, and a lighter is always a tool because you can use it for a lot of different stuff. So it deserves a place in this wall, as does the autoloader. Now this was invented by Mark Reynolds. I met the man himself at Europe's biggest tool show, and we're getting some of these with red and a shadow foam logo very, very soon. We've got a link in the description. You can go down there and get yourself one of these. And if you don't know what it is, it's an automatic adjusting screwdriver. You just turn it, press, and it engages a different bit. And it takes standard 1/4 inch bits, so you can set it up with 6 of the same, or you can put 6 different types, and it's just a really quality, made in Canada item, which you don't see very often, and I'd never seen anything quite like it. And to be fair, the inventor is a really great guy himself. Happy to have that in the panel, and I'm even happier to get some shadow foam versions very soon. So that's Canada, and just over the border, we've got the US, and I've got a few really cool bits from there too. Let me show you. So first up from the US is something from Tough Built. Now I love this. I've got a couple of these now and one in nearly every toolkit. If you don't know what it is, it's a utility blade that rotates into a scraper. And if that's not good enough, it's also got a pry bar on the end. It's a little beauty, they're not very expensive, and I think it is just the true definition of an innovative tool that's saving space, giving you a bit more versatility, and I love it. I think that's fantastic. So that's going in the kit. Following that, we've got my very first Snap-on tool. This is their ratcheting screwdriver, and these are super popular among Snap-on fans. You've got all the 1/4" bits in the handle. They come in a load of different colours, a load of different collectible versions, and they're just a really good quality tool. Now, I don't have a lot of Snap-on stuff. It's very, very expensive, so I bought this to scratch and itch, really, to have a little bit of Snap-on, and I put it in one of my compact toolkits. But now it's going to go in here, as is another personal favourite tool, which is the Fluke Volt Stick. Now, I've had one of these in my toolkit for a long, long time, and I like it so much, I put one in nearly every toolkit because it's compact, it's reliable, it's never let me down up to this point, and it just works. Fluke are one of the best, one of the market leaders in this kind of electrical test equipment. So we're having one of those in the wall, followed by this little beauty. This is an Empire level. Click the button, and it lights up. I'd never seen anything like it. We picked this up from, I think it was Home Depot. I was over there looking at all the different cool American tools that you can't get over here. The bubbles are made in the US. I think this thing's made in China, but it's really good nonetheless. And we're going to be putting that in the wall, followed by our final item from the US, which is this beastie thing. This is the S-Wing pry bar, made in the US, got a lovely finish on it, and it's just a bit of a beast. I've not used it yet, but it came from our US video. It didn't fit in the toolbox, it was too big, so it's going in here, and it's got a really cool US flag on it, so I think that's gonna look pretty smart in there. Now, that's all the tools, looking really good. As you can see, as we've been talking through them, I've saved you the time watching the layout. I've put a layout together. We're gonna have them all fanning out. I might have to tweak it a little bit, but what I'm looking for is basically a really cool display of all the different cool, intriguing tools that I've managed to collect over the last few videos. There's a lot more countries to visit, there's a lot more tools to look at. Maybe we'll have to make an even bigger wall when we get the 1 million plaque. So all I've got to do now is cut them all into the foam, and for that, all I need is one of our cutting kits. These kits contain everything you need to cut the foam and shape it how you want. They come free with most orders at shadowfoam.com, and all you have to do, once you've got the glove on,
put your gloves on.
so once you've got the glove on, you've got to place the items where you want it to go. Use a scalpel that comes in the cutting kit, and you're basically cutting around the item lightly and just capturing the silhouette onto the foam. So you're just using the scalpel like a pencil. Once you've cut all the way around, you can take the item out of the way, cut around it again deeper. You want to go for this item here, it's about 15 mil deep. We want to cut about 15, 20 mil into the foam. Once you've gone all the way around, you then just push your finger down the side, peel that foam back towards you, and literally it peels out. So it's cut and peel foam. It's dead easy, 2 steps basically. Cut around the item, peel it back. You can do that for every single shape, and you have a perfectly organized panel with all your tools in it exactly how you want them. So we're doing it in black foam here, but we have 7 different colors, and you can have a really cool contrast. So you can have a nice bright vibrant color underneath a black surface, and then you can see if anything's missing. And we've got new colors coming very, very soon, so you don't want to miss that. So that was the first tool. Let's cut all the rest in. So there we go. One crazy tool panel all done with all of the different quirky tools in it. I did add this, which was another little personal favorite that I forgot. This came from Germany. It's a cool little bit holder, and that's it, all finished, or at least all of the foam cutting is finished. All I've got to do now is add a little bit of a trim, use a little bit of Mitre Mate, pin nailer, pin all of the trim on. I've got a French cleat on the back of this panel already, so I just need to put a French cleat on there, get it on the wall. So let's crack on with it. we go, up on the wall on a French cleat. Really simple way to mount panels, that is, and it means I can take it down, change out the foam if I want to, and obviously, if I get any more quirky tools, which is a bit of a sign of things to come, more quirky tool videos, and there's a lot of countries I've not been to, so if you think I've missed something, or you're from a country that I haven't mentioned, or maybe there's a hardware store you think I'd enjoy, let me know in the comments, because I'm planning the upcoming videos, and I want to know some good spots to go to. So let me know in the comments where you'd like me to go next, and hopefully we can find some really cool stuff between now and 200k. Thanks very much for watching, see you in the next one.